Reloading data has a starting load and a maximum load. How do I use this information? When you get reloading data from a powder manufacturer or a bullet manufacturer, it will couple the weight of bullet with different types of powder. And what you need to do is you need to develop a load. It's called load development. You need to find out what weight of powder suits the particular bullet and the particular cartridge case. You think all cartridge cases are the same, but the internal dimensions differ slightly between different manufacturers, because some brass is thicker, some brass is thinner. So the internal volumes of the case differ from manufacturer, even between batches. Some people even, to get the maximum accuracy, they weigh their cases and only use cases in one particular load that are the same weight, because a case of the same cases that are the same weight have the same internal volume. So if I was to load, this is a 308 case, if I was to load 44 grains of 140 powder in there to push a 55 grain bullet, sorry, a 150 grain bullet, and that's a Lapua case, and if I was to use a Remington case, the Remington case may be over pressure, you know, but just because it's the cases are the same caliber and the bullets are the same doesn't mean that they'll shoot the same in the rifle. Even between rifles, one rifle can shoot a load and it won't be high pressure, and another rifle will shoot a load and it will be high pressure because of chamber tolerances and depends on how much resistance the bullet's got going down the barrel. It's a very, very in-depth and complicated subject. But coming back to the starting load and maximum load, what you want to do is the starting load will have the minimum load where you start your development from. In the case of, what load data have I got here? This is 223 load data, and in the case of a 50 grain bullet with Vitavuri 133 powder, it tells me here that the starting load is 24.5 grains of powder, and the maximum load is 26.2 grains of powder. Now what I can do is, going up in 0.5 of a grain intervals, I can load 3 to 5 rounds with 24.5 grains, that's the starting load, and then I can load another 5 rounds with 25 grains, which is 0.5 of a grain more powder, and then 5 rounds with 25.5 grains, and then another 5 rounds with 26 grains, which is approaching the maximum load. Then what I do is I take those batches of ammunition, there'll be 4 batches, all with a different powder weight. Make sure that you label the batch, and then I take them to the range and I fire them. And what you'll find is that the 24.5, the case will look like that. It's not particularly high pressure, you know, but it's not as fast as what it could be. And then you'll fire the 25 grain and the 5.5 grain, and you'll see the flattening of the primer, which means the bullet is travelling faster, there's higher pressures because there's more powder. And then you might shoot the 26 grain and it's over pressure. So what you might then say is, well, I'm going to use the 25.5 because it shoots accurately, but it's not over pressure and it's going pretty damn fast. That is how you develop a load. You you load a case, the case and the bullet with different amounts of powder, starting at the starting load and never exceeding the maximum load. But even going up to the maximum load, you might see signs of high pressure, in which case, if you've gone up to your high pressure limit and you've still got 2 more loads to fire, then just pull those with a kinetic bullet hammer and just reuse the components. Don't bother firing them, because you know they'll be over pressure. Do I need to crimp bullets with cannulas in place? There's a bullet with a cannula. It's a 150 grain Hornady SST. Good bullet, by the way. But it's got a cannula on it. This is a 125 grain Spear TNT. Devastating. But that bullet doesn't have a cannula on it. You could crimp that in place because it's got a cannula. You can also crimp that one in place. It doesn't have a cannula. Whether you want to crimp it in place or not is entirely up to you, but you don't have to do it with the bullet that has the cannula on it. It's preference as to what shoots best in your rifle. But like I've said in previous videos, if you're shooting an auto-loading rifle, then it is a good idea to put a crimp on the mouth of the case to hold that bullet in place, because there's a lot of stress put on the cartridge and the bullet when it's being fed out of the magazine into the chamber. And what can happen is, if you haven't crimped the bullet, then during that process the bullet might get pushed back into the case. Can happen. So you don't need to crimp bullets with cannulas unless it's what works best for your load, or you're shooting an auto-loading rifle, or it's personal preference, but it's not a necessity. So that is the end of my frequently asked questions with regards to reloading. I'm sure there are a few that I've missed. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to post them in the comments or send me a PM, and I'll try and get back to you. And I hope this video has been really useful. I'm David with Wilderness Education. Thank you very much for your time.